Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining and watching this recording. I'm going to be talking about the upcoming changes that are going to be happening to the Fortinet NSE Certification Program. My name is Edy Ferreira. I'm the Senior Director for the Curriculum Development and Certification team at Fortinet. My team is responsible for creating and maintaining all the technical training that we have from NSE 1 to NSE 7, and also technical training that is not part of the certification program, but that we still have courses for, like for the authenticator, for example, and other products and solutions that we have training for. My team is also in charge of creating the training and for K to 12 audience, security awareness, cybersecurity fundamentals for K to 12, or specifically for grade 11 and 12 in high school. And also my team is responsible for creating and maintaining all the certification exams that we have from NSE 4 up to NSE 8. So these changes that are happening to the certification program were announced on beginning March during Accelerate, and they are going to go live on July 15. So you were a little bit less than 2 months away from these changes to go live. The big update is happening regarding the certifications. We are retiring the FCF, FCA, FCP, FCSS, and FCX certifications. And when I'm saying that we are retiring, everybody that is holding those certifications will remain active until they expire. So Fortinet will maintain honoring those certifications until they expire. What is going to be happening if after July 15 you will not be able to get or be awarded with those certifications, and you will not be able to renew those certifications. In July 15, we are introducing new certifications. We are introducing NSE 1 certification, NSE 2, NSE 3, and NSE 4. Then we are introducing for 5, 6, and 7, 4 certification for each of these 3 levels. 1 certification for each of the 4 tracks: secure networking, SASE, cloud security, and security operations. So we will have NSE 5 in secure networking certification, NSE 6 certification in secure networking, and NSE 7 certification in secure networking. The same with SASE, cloud security, and security operations. And finally, we will have the NSE 8 certification, which is equivalent to what is right now the FCX certification. Additionally, we are introducing a new category of certifications, what we are going to be calling industry certifications. And I will talk more about them in an upcoming slide. But in this particular category, we will be introducing 2 new certifications: OT Security and MSSP Security. On July 15, we are going to be expanding the content that is now part of FCF and FCA that is going to become NSE 1, 2, and 3 after July 15. The existing content of FCF is going to be reorganized and expanded, and it will come what is going to be NSE 1 and 2, and the content in FCA, which is the FortiGate operator, is going also to be expanded and will come what is going to be NSE 3. We are increasing considerably the number of products, exam, and certifications options. This is the biggest expansion ever in our certification program. We are introducing the concept of comprehensive NSE 7 architect exams, and I will talk about them in a later slide. As we are introducing new certifications, we are updating the recertification rules and introducing recertification assessments and certification points. And for the first time in the program, we are introducing prerequisites for some certifications. Starting on July 15, anytime that you achieve a new certification or renew a new certification, they will be valid for 2 years, all these new certifications, including NSE 8, which is equivalent to FCX, which is nowadays 3 years, is going to become 2 years. So this is how the certification roadmaps will look like after July 15. As I mentioned, we will have the 4 initial certifications, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then starting on 5, there's going to be 4 tracks that you can choose from secure networking, SASE, cloud security, and security operations. For each of these tracks, there's going to be 3 certifications, NSE 5, NSE 6, and NSE 7. And then we have the NSE 8 certification. Then here, as I mentioned, we have a new category of certification, the industry certification, the MSSP and the OT security. So what are these industry certifications and why they are separated from the structure of A levels and 4 tracks? These certifications are created for business verticals that require a specific technical knowledge in order to deploy, manage, and design security solutions. And those the initial 2 business verticals that has a specific expertise that requires specific expertise are MSSP and OT security. So these 2 certifications will validate that you have that knowledge and those competencies in order, as I said, to design, deploy, administrate, and operate a solution, security solutions in MSSP for the MSSP security solution certification, and OT in the case of OT security certification. This is how the mapping from exams to certifications will look like after July 15. Let's start from bottom to top. We have NSE 1, 2, and 3. So NSE 1 is going to be a new course that is going to be called Cybersecurity and Cloud Fundamentals. NSE 2 is another new course that is called Introduction to the Next Generation Firewall. These 2 courses are, most of the content is content that we already have in the Fortinet Certified Fundamental certification that, as I said, is going to be reorganized and expanded. In the case of NSE3 is what is right now the FCA, FortiGate Operator. The content here will be also expanded. So NSE 1, 2, and 3 will continue to be self-paced training with a self-paced free certification. So you will be able to get any of these 3 certifications by completing the online course and by passing the online quiz. Then we have NSE 4, and starting at the NSE 4 is where we are going to have, starting to have proctor exams with Pearsonville. NSE 4 is what is right now for US administrator, that used to be FortiGate administrator in the past. And then in NSE 5, 6, and 7, we have different exams and courses depending on the track. And you need to complete one of these exams in each of these track and level in order to achieve that certification. For example, if you want to be NSE 5 in secure networking, you need to complete one of these 3 exams for a switch, secure wireless LAN, or SD-WAN core. As I mentioned, this is the biggest expansion ever to the certification program. There is courses that we are increasing the number of courses considerably, especially in the cloud security track and security operations track. There are courses that we released recently already, for example, for the DLP. And there are others that, for email workspace, we also released it a few weeks ago. And we are going to be releasing more courses during Q2 and Q3, like for the CNAP analyst, for the sector, for the NDR cloud, for the recon, and so on. Then at the NSE 7 level, we will have one single exam, the architect exam for secure networking, architect for SASE, architect for public cloud, and architect for security operation. These are going to be what we are calling comprehensive NSE 7 exams. And when we say comprehensive, what it means is that the recommended training for those exams are going to be, in some cases, more than one course. And we have it here. So, for example, in the case of the NSE 7 secure networking certification, the recommended training in order to prepare for that exam is 2 courses. Enterprise Firewall Administrator, and SD-WAN Enterprise Administrator. Something similar will happen with the NSE 7 SASE. The recommended training for the exam for the NSE 7 SASE exam is going to be for the SASE Enterprise Administrator and SD-WAN Enterprise Administrator. For the SASE Enterprise Administrator and SD-WAN Enterprise Administrator. In the case of cloud and security operations, the recommended training is only one for now. For the first time in the program, we are introducing the concept of prerequisites, and some certifications will have prerequisites. Starting with NSE 5 and 6, we are going to have prerequisites. The prerequisites for be NSE 5 or 6 is to be NSE 4. So you cannot be NSE 5 and 6 if you don't have an active NSE 4 certification. In the case of NSE 7, the prerequisite is to have either NSE 4 and 5 or NSE 4 and 6. Then the prerequisite for NSE 8 is to be 4, 5, and 7, or 4, 6, and 7. The prerequisites for the industry certifications, which as I said are OT Security and MSSP Security, are 4, 5, and 7, or 4, 6, and 7. This table shows on the middle column here how each certification renew other certifications, and here on the right how to renew each of these certifications. So if you are NSE 1 and you achieve your NSE 2, your NSE 1 get renewed. Then if you get your NSE 3, NSE 1 and 2 get renewed. If you get your NSE 4, 1, 2, and 3 get renewed. Where things are a little bit different is at the 5 and 6 level. When you get NSE 5 and 6, that will renew 1, 2, and 3, but it will not renew your NSE 4. You still need to renew your NSE 4 using one of the steps that are described on the right side. In the case of NSE 7, once you get your NSE 7, your 1, 2, 3, and 4 get renewed, and also the 5 and 6 in the same track, if you have them, get renewed. In the case of NSE 8, if you achieve the NSE 8, only if you are renewing the NSE 8 with a practical exam is when all your certifications get renewed. That's what there is an asterisk here. And I will talk more about NSE 8 at the end of this presentation when I have some slides that talks about specific changes that are happening to NSE 8. So once you are NSE 1, you can renew it by achieving a higher certification or by completing the course again, the NSE 1 again, NSE 1 course again. Same happened with 2 and 3. In the case of NSE 4, once you achieve the NSE 4, the NSE 4 will be valid for 2 years, and you can renew it by taking a new version of the exam every 2 years. Additionally, we are introducing the concept of recertification assessments on July 15. And these are going to be online courses with an online quiz that you will be able to achieve to complete in some circumstances in order to renew your certification. There's going to be a certification assessment available for NSE 4, 5, 6, and 7. So once you get a certification, there's going to be, in some cases, the option to renew that NSE 4, 5, 6, or 7 certification by completing a recertification assessment. In the case of NSE 8, once you achieve your NSE 8, we are moving to a recertification point system. The NSE 8 will be valid for 2 years, and every 2 years you need to accumulate at least 200 points doing different activities. So we will talk more about that in a later slide. What are the recertification assessments? The recertification assessment can only be used if the respective exam was taken no more than 2 years ago. So for example, if you are NSE 4 because you passed your exam, your NSE 4 exam no more than 2 years ago, you can renew your NSE 4 by taking a recertification assessment. If the exam was more than 2 years ago, you need to take the exam again. So the idea here is that once you achieve a certification, during the first 2 years, you take a recertification assessment. Then 2 years later, you take the exam, then the recertification assessment, and so on. So we are reducing considerably the effort that is needed right now to maintain your certification. Right now, if you have an FCP or an FCSS, you need to pass 2 exams to renew those certifications every 2 years. With these changes, you need to pass an exam no more than every 4 years, and with a recertification assessment in the middle. The recertification assessment are paid online activities that include an online training of the changes that has happened in the exams in the last 2 releases and an online test. You need to complete the self-paced training and pass the test. Recertification assessment will not be available for new exams. The idea is that recertification assessment will contain the changes that has happened in the last 2 versions of an exam. So when an exam is new, there is no point on having a recertification assessment. After the first update of an exam is when we will have the recertification assessment available. Something that I would like to clarify is that in July 15, we will not have a recertification assessment for all our exams. We will have a limited number of recertification assessments available. The initial 4 recertification assessment available on July 15 are the recertification assessment for NSE4 and 3 NSE7, one for secure networking, one for cloud security, and one for SASE. We will be adding more certification assessment during 2026 and 2027. Let's talk now about NSE 8 and how to renew NSE 8. As I mentioned, after July 15, once you achieve your NSE 8 or renew it, that NSE 8 will be valid for 2 years. In order to renew that certification, you need to accumulate at least 200 points every 2 years. So let's say that you achieve your NSE 8 in November 2026. That certification will expire in November 2028. On November 2028, on your expiration date, you are going to check how many points you have accumulated. And if you have accumulated at least 200 points, your NSE 8 will be renewed for 2 years more. You accumulate recertification points by doing recertification activities. And these are the recertification activities that you can do and how many points you are awarded for completing those activities. In some cases, some of these activities has a cap, a maximum number of points that you can accumulate. Something that I mentioned is earlier is that in order to be NSE 8, you need to be NSE 7. So in order to renew your NSE 8, your NSE 7 need to be active. So one activity that you will be doing every 2 years is either passing the NSE 7 exam to renew it, that will give you 75 points already, or if you are eligible to do the recertification assessment, you can also complete the recertification assessment, the NSE 7 recertification assessment, which will give you 50 points. So whatever you do in order to renew your NSE 7, which is a prerequisite for maintaining the NSE 8, that activity will count toward the 200 points that you need to do in order to renew your NSE 8. Something that was announced beginning this year is that we are moving away from having one NSE 8 reading exam and one NSE 8 practical exam to have 2 practical exams. So on July 15, after July 15, in order to be NSE 8, you need to be NSE 7, which means that you also need to be 4 and 5 or 4 and 6. Then you need to complete a core practical exam first. Once you pass your core practical exam, which is kind of replacing the reading exam right now, you have the option to go for an elective practical exam, which is the last step. The electives are going to be 3. One elective in secure networking, one in application security, one in security operations. Once you complete all these steps, you will become NSE 8. Something that was announced recently is that the core exam will be available on site only in order to maintain the security of the exam and in order to maintain the integrity of the exam. So there's gonna be initially one site per region where people can go and take the NSEA core exam. The NSEA core exam will also be available at Fortinet events, at Accelerate, and probably at some expert events. And we're going to be announcing soon the exact days where we are going to be hosting NSEA core practicas. For people that are interested in becoming NSEA, they can register, go to the site, and take the practical exam. Once you pass the practical exam, which is on site only, as I said, you will have the option then to take, you will be eligible to take the elective exam. And in the case of the NSE8 elective practical exam, you can take it on site or you can take it remotely. So in this particular case, in the case of the elective, we are going to maintain the option to take the exam remotely. We also announced the benefits, additional benefits to the NSEA people. Some of these were already in place, but were not formal, so we are formalizing them. Part of the benefits that we are creating a 10 years anniversary kit, and we are creating the emeritus status for people that has maintained their NSE8 active for more than 10 years. The way of how the emeritus status is going to work is that if your NSEA is more than 10 years, you have maintained it for more than 10 years, and you leave it expire, or you don't want to renew it, or you cannot renew it for any reason, on the expiration date, we check if that NSE8 is more than 10 years old, we will give you the emeritus status. These are the benefits that has been announced to people that are NSE8 active and for the people that are going to be NSE8 emeritus. Part of the benefit includes free access to main events like Accelerate and dinner and meetings with the PMs, the product managers. So how the transition is going to work from the existing certifications to the new certifications on July 15th. In the case of people that has FCF and FCA certifications, the mapping is going to be straightforward, direct. If you have an FCF certification on July 15 that is active, on July 15 you are going to get an NSE1 and an NSE2. And the issue date and the expiration date of those two certifications would match the issue date and the expiration date of the fundamental certification. Something similar is going to happen with the FCS certification. If you have an FCA active certification on July 15, you will get an NSE3 certification with the same issue date and the same expiration date. Let's say the case of people that are going to have an FCP certification active on July 15. It could be in secure networking, in SASE, in security operations, or cloud. So if you have any FCP certification active on July 15, we are going to review all the historical exams that you have passed in the past. It doesn't matter when you pass them. And we're going to award you NSE 4, 5, and 6 certification, depending on your historical exams. Again, it doesn't matter the date of the exam. So for example, if you are an FCP in secure networking on July 15, and you pass the FortiGate administrator exam 5 years ago, you will receive an NSE 4 certification. So there is a table in our FAQ, in our support site, that provide the mapping, how this mapping is going to work for people that have active FCP certifications on July 15. You have a QR code here that with a direct link to this table. And again, let me give you another example. If you are an FCP in cloud security on July 15 and you pass the FortiMail administrator exam, doesn't matter when, you will receive an NSE6 cloud security certification. Something similar is going to be happening with people that has FCSS certifications. If you have an FCSS certification in July 15, we're going to check all your historical exams. And depending on those exams, we're going to award you NSE 6 certifications or an NSE 6 certifications in those tracks that you have FCSS certification. And that same table that I showed you for FCP also contains the mapping that is going to be happening for FCSS. So for example, if in July 15, you are and have an FCSS in Security Operations certification, and you took the Advanced Analytic exam, I don't know, 6 years ago. It's a very old exam because of your FCSS certification is active, and because you took that exam, you will receive an NSE 7 in Security Operations certification. Then we have the case of the FCX people, which is a one-to-one mapping. If you have an active FCX certification on July 15, you will receive an NSE 8 certification with the same issue date and the same expiration date. Finally, we have additionally, we were going to be awarding additional certifications based on your recent exams. This is for cases of people that has taken one exam only recently and have not taken any other exam in order to be FCP or FCSS. So even in those cases that you are not FCP or FCSS, if you have taken an exam recently, you will receive a certification on July 15. And when I say recently, I mean any certification, any exam that you have completed on or after July 15. So any exam that is no more than 2 years old on July 15 this year. So in this case, if you have taken or passed only FortiGate administrator exam, nothing else, so you are not FCP. But if you pass that exam after July 15, 2024, you will receive the NSE 4 certification. The issue date of that certification will be the date of the exam, and the expiration date will be 2 years after that. Another example is the FortiSwitch administrator. If you pass that exam recently, after July 15, 2024, you will receive the NSE 5 in secure networking. So in our FAQ, in our support side, there is another table that shows this mapping between recent exams and new certifications. Again, if you pass the FortiAnalyzer analyst exam recently, even if you don't have any certification, you will be receiving the NSE 5 in Security Operations certification. And that's all what I have in my presentation. If you go to our training portal, training.fortinet.com, you are going to see a link that goes to a page that shows all the details that I have explained about all these changes. That page also contains a link to our FAQ, where we have the most frequent questions that people has been asking about these changes, and also contain the two tables that I show here that shows the mapping between certification, the mapping of certification that you are going to get on July 15 based on your active certifications and based on your recent exams. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.